We are kicking off today with WWE, and it was in November that Randy Orton was written off TV with an attack by Kevin Owens as the prizefighter's piledriver resulted in Orton being stretchered away. Fans have been excited to see Orton back, and while it's been reported that his return won't be at Raw's debut on Netflix, the WWE Universe won't have to wait for much longer. During a live Q&A on Backstage Pass, WrestleVotes shared that Orton will be back by the Royal Rumble PLE on February 1st, and could be even sooner than that. A return at the Rumble would certainly be interesting, as Kevin Owens will challenge Cody Rhodes for the WWE title at the show, and the Viper could be the difference maker. Do you believe Randy Orton will get to exact revenge on Kevin Owens upon his return? Please share your thoughts and feedback in the comments section below. Over to Raw, as this week's episode was the last of 2024 and ended with CM Punk and Seth Rollins as the final two people on the red brand before the show faded to black. Neither man held back in their brutal promo battle, and Sean Ross Sapp reports that Punk's side of the battle came with the help of writer Alexandra Williams. Williams continues to serve as the writer for Punk's segment, although it's unclear how long she's been penning promos for the voice of the voiceless. Punk and Rollins will finally do battle during next week's Raw's debut on Netflix in a match that had been considered for WrestleMania, but instead will happen on a different huge show. We'll have to see how Punk vs. Rollins pans out, as this may just be the first in a string of matches, and it'll be interesting to see if Punk keeps the same writer now that he's back in WWE. But what did you think of this promo? Is WWE booking CM Punk better than Tony Khan did in AEW? Please share your thoughts and feedback in the comments section below. On next week's Raw, John Cena will officially kick off his farewell tour, but other than that confirmation, details are sketchy as to what Cena will exactly do on the show. One rumor going around is that Cena will be in action on the show, potentially against Logan Paul, as this match was previously shot down for WrestleMania 41. During a recent live Q&A on Backstage Pass, WrestleVotes addressed this rumor and made clear that fans shouldn't expect Cena to be in action this coming Monday. They said, "No, if they're asking if they can wrestle on the Netflix show, I would say no. That match, if it were to happen, it's going to get heavily promoted. So no, yeah, that story just remains as we reported last Thursday, interest on both sides, interests within the WWE to do the match, however, not at WrestleMania, that's where." It was reported that WWE management didn't like the idea of Cena's last WrestleMania match to be against Paul, and wants Cena to face a more experienced opponent at the show of shows. Whatever happens on Raw, Cena will be kicking off his retirement tour, and fans are excited to see what the 16-time WWE champion will have to say on Netflix. Which WWE superstars do you want to see John Cena face as part of his retirement tour this year? Please share your thoughts and feedback in the comments section below. Over to Dynamite, which kicked off in a surprising way, as AEW's flagship show is now using the Pointer Sisters' 1982 hit "I'm So Excited" as its theme song. This was a massive change and impossible not to notice, as AEW had previously been using Pop by Mikey Ruckus, the in-house composer for AEW themes. This was a much different direction for the show's theme, and likely means that Tony Khan needed to shell out money for the rights to use the popular song. It was fitting to debut the new theme on this week's Fight for the Fallen show, and with the show now being featured on Max, AEW could soon have even more eyes on their product. We'll have to see how long AEW keeps this theme, as the use of the iconic song was certainly a surprising way for Tony Khan to kick off the new year. On AEW Dynamite Fight for the Fallen, the newly reformed faction of Rated FTR, that being FTR and Adam Copeland, joined forces to take on the Death Riders. This match was set up at World's End when FTR and Copeland came out during the end of the show to fend off Jon Moxley and his faction. After getting tired of being attacked by the Death Riders, FTR teased back up for when they returned, and that reinforcement turned out to be the returning Copeland. Copeland had been out of action since suffering a leg injury at Double or Nothing, and after Rated FTR took out the Death Riders at World's End, Tony Khan made the match for Dynamite. The Asheville crowd was pumped to see their hometown team in action, but the big showdown was kept to the final segment when Copeland and Moxley were in the ring together. These two have history in WWE but never shared the ring as opponents in the promotion, though it still seemed like the pair had a grudge to settle. Moxley was poised to hit a piledriver on Copeland through the announce table, but the veteran escaped the move and speared the AEW World Champion through the barricade. Jay White showed up to attack Wheeler Yuta, which helped Rated FTR get the win, the first win for the real-life friends in AEW. Rated FTR won't have long to rest as they will face the Learning Tree on this week's Collision, and we'll have to see how long this trio stays together and dominates the division. We've mentioned that Adam Copeland teamed with FTR to get the win over the Death Riders, and while that's technically true, this week's Dynamite saw a massive change. As the Rated R superstar made his entrance, Justin Roberts made the announcement and revealed Copeland's name has now been shortened and is now just Cope. The commentary confirmed this wasn't a botch as they referred to him as Cope, and AEW social media team have taken to referring to the former WWE World Champion by this name. On social media, fans shared their issues with the new name, with one saying that Copeland worked while Cope doesn't, and another added that, "I hope they ditch that fast." Do you think Cope is the right name for the former Edge, or is this edit a case of changing something that wasn't broken? Share your thoughts on this new name below. The Acclaimed once again showed signs of tension as they made their way out to face the Hurt Syndicate, and that attitude continued during the match. At one point, Shelton Benjamin was beating up Max Caster on the floor, and while Benjamin looked at Anthony Bowens, who could have helped his partner, Bowens did not intervene. The finish of the match saw Lashley get the submission win on Caster, again with Bowens making no attempt to keep the match going or help out his tag team partner. As a match, this wasn't much, as it was short and mostly one-sided, but it told an important story with the Acclaimed, so its inclusion on the show made sense even if it wasn't exciting. Swerve Strickland apologized to Prince Nana for being distracted for the last few weeks, but vowed it would end tonight and sought to prove his focus in a triple threat match. This triple threat was between Strickland, Roderick Strong, and Jay White, with the winner earning a spot in next week's Casino Gauntlet, and the crowd were firmly behind Strickland. Chants of Swerve's house rang out as the match got started, and this match was all action right from the start as all three men showed why they're some of the best competing today. White mockingly performed Prince Nana's dance after sending his opponents to the floor, and all three men were involved in a dangerous-looking Tower of Doom spot shortly after. White was seen favoring his knee, which commentary noted might have been hurt in the spot, and it's unclear if this was just part of the story or if the move was indeed botched. Nevertheless, White remained in the match, and while at times it seemed all three men had the match won, it was the interference of Ricochet that would prove pivotal in this contest. As Swerve was closing in on the win, Ricochet grabbed the hair of the former world champion and nailed Strickland with scissors, busting open his nemesis. In the ring, White got the win to advance to the Casino Gauntlet, and Ricochet continued his attack after the match, with Swerve's blood coating Ricochet's white shirt. Chants of "You sick f*** rained down as Ricochet threw Prince Nana into the steps and hit him with a chair, completing the long-teased heel turn of the one and only. This was a shocking scene that came after a match with three guys at the top of their game, so it was hardly a surprise that the match was a great performance. Each man brought something different to the ring, but they blended their styles together to create an entertaining match, followed by a shocking post-match assault. Jade Cargill has been keeping fans intrigued since sharing a cryptic, blood-smeared photo on Twitter just before Christmas. Now, as 2025 begins, she's fueling even more speculation. On January 1st, Jade posted another haunting image. This time, she's drenched in blood from head to toe, standing outdoors without a caption to explain the context. The chilling photo quickly captured attention, leaving fans guessing about its meaning. What makes this post even more fascinating is its apparent nod to Doja Cat's Scarlet album. The album's alter ego, Scarlet, represents themes of self-reinvention and creative rebirth. This subtle connection has sparked theories that Jade might be gearing up for a massive return to the ring in 2025, possibly with a completely reimagined persona or a fresh chapter in her WWE journey. Jade's absence from the ring has been the subject of much speculation. Initially, it was believed she was sidelined due to an injury from a backstage attack during the December 13th episode of SmackDown. During her absence, Naomi stepped in to defend the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship alongside Bianca Belair. However, Jade's recent posts suggest her hiatus might be ending soon. The big question remains, is Jade planning to return as an even more dominant force, or is she hinting at something entirely new and dramatic? Whatever the case, it's clear that she's setting the stage for a bold move in 2025. What do you think Jade Cargill is hinting at with these mysterious posts? Share your thoughts and predictions in the comments below. During this week's NXT, the end-of-year awards were handed out, with TNA's Joe Hendry winning Moment of the Year for his debut and surprising run with the Silver brand. In his acceptance speech, Hendry thanked the fans for their support and ended that his slogan, "Say his name and he appears," means anywhere, anytime, any show. Immediately after, WWE teased Raw's highly anticipated debut on Netflix, fueling speculation that Hendry might make a surprise appearance on the January 6th episode. Hendry appearing would certainly be a highlight of what is gearing up to be one of the biggest episodes of Monday Night Raw in history. Whether Hendry is on WWE Raw or not, January 2025 will be a massive month for the Scottish star, as he'll challenge for the TNA World title at Genesis on January 19th against Nick Nemeth. What do you think though? Will Joe Hendry make his Raw debut, or is this just a clever tease? Please share your thoughts and feedback in the comments section below. This month will mark 5 years since Adam Copeland returned to the ring after a 9-year retirement, but the AEW star recognizes that his return can't last forever. Speaking to Raj Prashad from Uprocks, Adam Copeland shared a potential timeline for his retirement, saying that he may retire in the next 1.5 or 2 years. The Rated R superstar shared that there's still a lot of storylines he can be part of before then, and he's not too worried about retiring, as he'd rather focus on the present than the future. Should Adam Copeland's retirement from wrestling come in AEW, or should Edge's final send-off be at a WWE show? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments. Over to Pro Wrestling Noah, as WWE's Shinsuke Nakamura was in yesterday's New Year's show, where the US champion got the win over former MMA fighter Ulka Sasaki. The momentum shifted repeatedly between the two, and Sasaki came close to victory when he locked Nakamura in a triangle choke, but Nakamura refused to give up. When the referee was down, Nakamura used his mist to blind Sasaki and take control of the match, and after a Styles clash, floored Sasaki with 2 Kinshasas to get the victory. What was your highlight from this match? And do you think his win means more appearances in Noah or in Nakamura's future? Share your thoughts on the King of Strong Style down below. In 2024, AJ Francis has cemented himself as part of the TNA roster, and now the ex-WWE star and former digital media champion has signed a new contract with the promotion. Speaking to SI, Francis shared that there had been feelers about a move to AEW or even a potential WWE return, but the former Top Dollar is happy to stay part of the TNA roster. We've got some sad news to report now, as wrestling legend Sweet Daddy Siki has passed away at the age of 91. In the 1960s and 70s, Siki was a top draw in Canada, where he worked in Maple Leaf Wrestling, Grand Prix Wrestling, and Stampede Wrestling, and later worked as a wrestling trainer. Fans of Adam Copeland and Christian Cage have Siki to thank, as he played a crucial role in training them at Toronto's Sully's Gym, and we'd like to share our condolences to his family. Back to Dynamite, and in the opening match, Adam Page faced Orange Cassidy, with the Cowboy getting the upper hand, and Page posed for the cheers of the fans despite being a heel. This fight quickly headed outside the ring as the pair brawled by the barricade, and Page was spotted on commentary checking his teeth, suggesting one may have been knocked out. Cassidy attempted to fight back but was caught in a crossbody, and after a commercial break, Page was in full control, but there was something of a botch near the finish. After Page hit a super kick and went for a buckshot lariat, there was an awkward miscommunication, as it seemed neither man was sure what was next and had to pause. Page would get the win shortly after, and while this was a fun, fast-paced match full of counters, it felt like this match lacked the intensity it needed to have. Page is permanently angry, and OC should be furious that neither of them were able to take down Jon Moxley, but this match didn't feel like it had the kind of animosity it should have. It was only after the commercial break that this intensity ramped up, and it was also a surprise to see Page get the clean win with no cheating or interference from the Death Riders. Page kept attacking Cassidy after the match, teasing this feud will continue, and while this week's contest was fun, there's room for improvement. In a segment, Jon Moxley spoke about destroying the AEW title, which has left fans speculating a new design could be on the way, and we'll have to keep our eyes peeled for something different. Now, FTR has teamed up with some of the biggest names in wrestling during their time in WWE and AEW, including Randy Orton, CM Punk, and now Adam Copeland. However, some fans believe FTR has relied on these stars to boost their careers. Addressing these claims, Dax Harwood set the record straight while speaking to WrestleZone. Harwood explained that their partnerships with top stars weren't something they sought out, it was the other way around. These wrestlers chose to work with FTR, recognizing their talent and reputation. Citing examples, Harwood spoke about FTR KO, revealing that Randy Orton personally decided to team up with them. Similarly, with CMFTR, it was CM Punk who asked to work with them in AEW. Harwood also mentioned Adam Copeland, emphasizing that even as a decorated 10-time World Tag Team Champion team, it was Copeland who approached them for a partnership. Harwood questioned the critics, saying, "Do you really think Cash and I went to Vince and said, 'Hey, put us with Randy?' Or was it Randy who said, 'I'd like to work with these guys?' The same goes for Punk. Do you think we asked Tony to put us with Punk, or was it Punk who wanted a team with us? And with Adam Copeland, do you think we pushed for it, or did Adam, with his legendary career, choose to work with us?" He dismissed the idea that FTR clings to others for success, stating that their collaborations are built on mutual respect and recognition. While FTR is grateful for these opportunities, Harwood made it clear they don't rely on anyone else's fame to thrive, and stated that it's important to clear the air about these claims and put them to rest. Do you agree with Dax Harwood's response? Share your thoughts in the comments below. In a video vignette from backstage at World's End, a bloodied MJF gloated about his win over Adam Cole and said that the "Better Than You, Baby" chapter of his career is over. Looking to the future, MJF said it didn't matter to him what Jon Moxley's agenda is for the AEW World title, but that winning back the title means everything to him. MJF warns Moxley that he will soon return for AEW's top prize, and do you want to see MJF back in the world title picture? Let us know down in the comments. Now, 2 weeks ago, Julia Hart made her first appearance in a long time and blindsided Jamie Hayter after a match, setting up a showdown between the two for this week's Dynamite. In the middle of the match, Hart produced an arrow, a nod to the several vignettes that aired before her return, in which she was seen with a bow and arrow. This arrow played crucial in this match, as when the official was distracted getting it out of the ring, Hart took advantage and hit Hayter with the mist to get the win. This was a fine return for Hart, who was visibly hesitant early in the match, but that's to be expected given her lengthy hiatus due to her injury. Hart is still young, and shaking off ring rust will be a new sensation for her, and thankfully, sharing the ring with the talented Hayter helped mask some of that. This match had some highlights, and the finish was certainly unique, but this contest also showed how time off can affect someone when they first return. AEW saw a handicap match with Powerhouse Hobbs taking on John Cruz and another local talent, and this was a total squash which ended in about 2 minutes, with Hobbs getting the win. And that was AEW Dynamite, the first show of its kind to simulcast on both TBS and Max, and from a production side of things, the show went off without a hitch. Not only were there no glitches or hiccups that often come with changes like this, but the show had a new level of polish, with a brighter lighting system and new camera angles being used. The show felt sharper both in terms of audio and picture, and the only downside to watching on Max was the complete lack of picture-in-picture action during commercial breaks. This was a solid episode of Dynamite, but had its flaws, with a couple of matches falling short of what fans have grown to expect from AEW's flagship show. Nevertheless, this show had 2 standout matches, those being the triple threat won by White and the trio's main event, which both entertained in different ways and advanced their stories. The Death Riders losing was hardly a shock, nor was Wheeler Yuta eating the pin, but the endgame appears to be a World Championship match between Copeland and Moxley. With Christian Cage still lurking with a contract for a promised title shot, and MJF declaring his intention to regain the belt this week though, the AEW World title scene is getting very crowded.